so good to be with you.
Oh, no worries. It's nice to see you again. By the way, I heard the magazine you gave me last week, and I was just wondering that if the Bible says that we just simply cease to exist when we die, then it means that's the end of life. So, well, we got to believe on something that gives us hope or comfort when somebody dies.
Well, thank you for your thoughts about that. Indeed, the Bible teaches the truth about the condition of our dead loved ones. In fact, the Bible often compares death to sleep. Now, what happens when a person is asleep?
Of course, he or she is going out of bed and maybe completely unconscious of what's going on around him or around her. And pretty much, sleeping person can be woken up.
Right. So in line with that, I'd like to share with you an account in the Bible about how Jesus showed the condition of the dead and what hope awaits for them in the future. It's here found in John chapter 11, 11 to 14. Would you mind reading it for me?
11 to 14.
Yes.
After he said these things, he added, Lazarus, our friend, has fallen asleep, but I am traveling there to awaken him. The disciples then said to him, Lord, if he is sleeping, he will get well. Jesus, however, had spoken about his death, but they imagined he was speaking about taking rest and sleep. Then Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus who has died.
Did you notice what Jesus, the Son of God, said about Lazarus?
Jesus said that Lazarus has fallen asleep, but in verse 14, he said that Lazarus has died.
That's correct. Now, since Jesus said that Lazarus is just sleeping in bed, do you think it's possible for him to be awakened?
Probably.
Well, let's see what happens next. Let's continue reading through verses 39 to 44. Let me read it for you. Jesus said, Take the stone away. Martha, the sister of the deceased, said to him, Lord, by now you must know, for it has been 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not tell you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? So they took the stone away. Then Jesus raised his eyes heavenward and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. True, I knew that you always hear me, but I spoke on account of the crowd standing around, so that they may believe that you sent me. When he said these things, he cried out with a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The man who had been dead came out with his feet and hands bound with wrappings, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to them, Free him and let him go.
Oh, so Lazarus indeed woke up and went out from the tomb where he was late.
Exactly. Of course, this is just one of the several resurrections recorded in the Bible. Getting an accurate knowledge about the resurrection accounts will give us a solid basis for believing that the dead will be raised up and that death is not the end of the road after all. Besides, the Bible teaches that God purposed man to live forever.
Oh, that's interesting. So if that's the case, then why do humans die?
Well, if I may, we are using this book, What Does the Bible Really Teach, to help us understand more about that topic. In chapter 6 of this book, one of the questions that will be answered is, why do we die? Perhaps we can start with paragraph 8 on my next visit. This will help us know further that it was really not God's purpose for people to die.
Oh, sure.
Very much, Mr. Remo and Mr. Wade. In our field ministry, we should not assume that our listeners will be interested in our subject just because we're interested in it. The topic that Mr. Remo discussed is about resurrection. And it's a very intriguing topic because not most people believe in the resurrection. Actually, Sister Remo worked on study number 23, which is practical value made clear. And in order to do it, she used some Bible verses and then also questions also. Now the question is, how did Sister Remo lay the groundwork for the next visit? Did you observe Sister Mercadal?
Yes, because the householder asked, why do human die? And then Sister Remo showed one article in the Bible Teach book. So that was that laid the groundwork for the next visit.
Okay, and how did she do it? Was she positive about it? When we lay the groundwork, why must we be positive? Or another first question, what must we avoid when we are laying the groundwork?
To give them an option to say no, for instance.
Exactly, don't ask. Can I come back again next week at this time? Don't ask. Be passive, by the way. Like say, for example, will you be convened again at this time next week? See, because you are showing intention to come back.